Thank you, Bruce. Sorry about the recommendation for the ginger snap. My fault. Hi, everyone. Thank you for being here. My name is Maribeth, and I love tarot cards. So I see the world through the lens of tarot, and I thought I would share with you this card. I gave you a printout that I use in my classes when we meditate on the card, which is what I'd like to do at the end of service for affirmation of spirit. So if you'd like to stay, I'll talk a little bit more about that. I want to just start by saying that I'm really, really honored to be here and proud to be a part of the board of directors of the ISDTC as of last week. Thank you very much. And I look forward to growing through it with it together, because the stronger we are individually, the stronger we can be as a group. I'm going to stick to my script now. Let's see. So the reason that I chose the Lover's card to talk about today is because my friend Jenny Gallagher teaches me that in numerology, 2022 was associated with the number 6, because 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. So this year, that would make this card, because it's major arcana number 6, the card of the year. Last year was 5, which was the Hierophant. And my impression in experiencing life through 2021 was that everyone had a chance to really focus on themselves. When I think of the number 5, I think of my hand, like manicure, manipulate, like you have a hand in what happens to you. And I feel like we often throughout 2021 had time to focus on ourselves. With 2022, all those 2s, we bring ourselves into relation with other people, and we have the opportunity to reflect back and forth as the card shows, with spirit watching over from above. So let's see, 2022, though the 2s appears to be more about relationships with each other now that we have had time to be alone and work on ourselves last year. What we see in each other is a reflection of ourselves. We have no control over changing someone else. It is up to us to create harmonious interactions. Again, the more comfortable and confident you are in your own skin, the easier it is to feel harmonious with others. So I will be leading us in a guided meditation during affirmation of spirit into this Garden of Eden that's represented here, because it is about choice between vice and virtue, and the opportunity for decision each and every moment that we have to invent ourselves, reinvent ourselves, and be who we want to be. This leads me to want to share with you how I ended up here. So if you don't mind, I'd like to begin with the story of how I ended up living in Vero Beach, Florida, when just 3 years ago, I was living in Rhode Island with no intention of going anywhere. I had rented a beautiful cottage on the water for over 20 years, which was a few miles from where I grew up. And my mother was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer on Halloween of 2018. The day after Thanksgiving, she went into hospice, and I moved in with my father to help him take care of her. She passed on January 7th, 2019. Now, my dad had spent winters here every year with her, and they loved it here. But she didn't want to be that far away, even though he always wanted to move here. So as soon as she passed, he was basically packed and ready to go. And he's a guy that really doesn't do sad. He just kind of moves forward and said, we had a great life. I have no regrets, and I'm going to continue living with no regrets. So that's what we did. I was concerned that it was all happening really fast after 50 plus years of marriage, that he might be reacting instead of acting. So I offered to move into his house while he got settled, just to make sure. And as I continued to come down to Florida and spend time with him, I understood more and more why he loved it here. And I did too. While we were exploring, I happened to see a poster board sign outside of a bank where my mother used to love to go because they had silver teapots that they served coffee in all day. So that's how my mom was. And there was a poster board sign outside that said psychic fair at this place called Spark of Divine. And I thought, oh, I like that name. I had been working at the Grateful Heart in Rhode Island, and it was special in that same, it sounded special in that same way. So my father and I came here, and I tried to buy a water bottle that had crystals in it. It was really cool. They changed the vibration of the water. And for whatever reason, my credit card didn't work, or I didn't have the cash or something. And Beth was here and told me not to worry about it, but just send her the money when I could. I thought I was in some foreign land. I really struggled with understanding any of that concept. That's really, like, how do you know? I told you I was from out of town. This is not how people do things in Rhode Island. Where am I? What's happening? That was my first introduction to Beth and the Spark of Divine. And I really started to feel like I found my people, because these people were the people I wanted to be. And no one gave me what I had always referred to throughout my whole life. Everywhere else I went with the, what's up with this chick look. I wasn't getting it anymore. So I decided that it would be helpful to do some readings while I was visiting my father. So I asked Beth if I could provide readings occasionally and maybe teach some classes. Beth was kind, straightforward, and helpful in more ways than I could list. When she helped me understand that I didn't need to protect my energy as much as I needed to strengthen my boundaries, I fell in love. I understood how important it is to have that light inside that shines out, and the importance of keeping it polished. Once I saw the bumper stickers that said Light Workers Unite, I really knew I found my people. Then I came upon the literature for Institute for Spiritual Development, and the only way I could describe that moment was the same way I felt when I discovered Reiki, which is another story, but divine intervention and a soul yearning that made me feel like I belong. And I wanted to know more. So now we'll get to self-acceptance and the lover's card. As I met Christine and Connie and Melinda and Tina and Jenny and Jessica and Serena and everyone involved, I really felt like I was at once in the opposite of the land of misfit toys. Or maybe it was the land of the misfit toys and I was misfit too. But it was so comfortable. Everyone was so accepting, kind, and loving, supportive in every way. I know no one is perfect, but I felt like they knew I wasn't perfect either, and that is exactly what made it special. So this is what I see now when I look at the lover's card. An acceptance of each other that only comes from an acceptance of self, just like love. You must love yourself first before you're capable of loving another. Acceptance is the same and works in both directions. So I recognize that moving here and starting a whole new life was an incredible opportunity to reinvent myself in whatever ways I wanted. Anything I didn't like about myself, I could leave behind. And I could become my best self each day. It reminded me of my friend Margaret, who was a software engineer. And when she went on a cruise to the Caribbean, she decided she would tell people she was a foot model. Yeah. She really did. The moral of that story is you can really be whoever you want, whenever you want. Thank you. Every minute is an opportunity to make a decision. If you don't do what you always did, if you always do what you always did, you always get what you always got. So I explained to my friends at home that I met this amazing group of light workers and found my people. It was hard to say goodbye to everyone, but I knew I was moving in the right direction for many reasons. We are human, and so we can't be perfect. Some believe it is because of the story of Adam and Eve, which is reflected in the Lover's cards very distinctly. You can see the tree of knowledge of good and evil behind Eve, with the serpent winding around the tree, and the tree of life behind Adam. The flaming branches are reminders of transformation and change, which is what life is all about. It's like seeing the rainbows in the crystals, unique identifiers. Without wishing people were different, we can hold the space for them to decide whether their choices are benefiting them. Some say when someone else's behavior does bother you, it's probably because of a reflection of something you don't like about yourself. Probably true, very good to know and stay aware of that. Also very well depicted in the Lover's card. This is why they are unclothed. They are revealing their true selves without cover. The vulnerability is what makes it beautiful. Tarot cards are by their very essence reflections of all parts of ourselves. I look forward to taking you on the journey to meet the raw you and accept yourself as you are, with ideas for improvement should you choose to make any changes. We will do that later during Affirmation of Spirit. We will enter the car and meet Raphael, known as Healer of God, Reconciler of all things. And you may communicate with and receive messages from any of the people or animals in the car. Thank you all for being you. It's very beautiful. And if you don't like something about you, change it. And by the way, there is nothing, and absolutely nothing, more petrifying to me than public speaking. And so I decided that I wasn't going to give that any energy and got some courage from it.